Well, hello, everybody. My name is Conor McGilligan. This is your instant match reaction. Leeds United lose out in a game of which I thought was a must not lose, a must win. Look, whatever. In these moments, like when you say must win, it clearly, is up for debate. I completely understand that. But a must win for me is up against the side that's second bottom. I don't care if the side who is second bottom at this moment in time as Sean Dyche, and they've got good individual players. There is a way to play against Nottingham Forest. There's a way to play against a lot of the teams in and around the bottom 8, bottom 10. There's a reason they're the bottom 8, bottom 10. This squad for me is constructed in a way of which this Leeds United side can finish 17th. They can finish 17th. We've recruited in a way of which prioritizes physicality, athleticism. I mentioned a seniority a little bit earlier on as well. And the reason I mentioned that is because these are older heads. These are experienced heads as well, which should be worth something in the Premier League, especially those with Premier League minutes before. Leeds United are at a stage right now where I don't know what we are. I don't understand Leeds. I don't understand the identity. Is there an identity? Could you tell me what it is? I don't know what it is. And this isn't reactionary right now. Leeds, from an Opta perspective, I mentioned this a lot of times before the Tottenham Hotspur game. Leeds United in the next 5 games had the second easiest fixture run, according to Opta, in the English Premier League. Leeds have picked 1 win up in those 5 games, losing all 4 of the rest, not even just getting a point. Losing all 4. When Leeds conceded that first goal today, there was an absolute jubilation with me. And I thought to myself, do you know what? There's a jubilation because, let's be honest, this Forest side didn't look great. Like, they were shooting on sight, and that's a really good side of Forest, I think. And I think, albeit Forest will be fine, but they were shooting on sight a little bit. Leeds hadn't conceded. That's the second time, according to Squawka, Leeds United have conceded 10 shots in the first half under Daniel Farke. That may be something to take into consideration when you're looking at changes. I looked at the starting lineup, and we'll go all the way back there because we're kind of going back in some form of chronological order. Berren Cross tweeted it as well. I was on the phone to another content creator when the match lineups were announced. My immediate question, where's Nonto? Yeah, I don't know, mate. Literally, I think he's left him out the squad. But he said he was fine. He said he was fine in the press conference. He said he was fine the week before. He said 3 weeks ago he was in team training. So for 3 weeks he's been in team training. And then I see, and the patterns start going in my mind, because then I see Jack Harrison coming on for Gabby Goodmanson, which we will get onto in a bit. And I think to myself, do you know what? I think for different styles, and we've seen that this season, for different dimensions of the game, there's an actual question, which is staggered me. Aronson, Harrison, and James are the 3 wingers, because really you can't go into a matchday squad with 4 wingers. You can't do it, really, and I understand that. But you're picking Aronson, you're then picking Harrison, and then you're picking James over Willian Gnonto. Our best front 3 will be Gnonto, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or Mecha, who was very good in phases, I thought, today, but he was isolated again. Shocking. And no Okafor. Gnonto's not in the squad. And you're thinking to yourself, well, what's that all about? Is it another nick and a knock? And no, you literally go back and read the verbatim from Daniel Farke's press conference, and maybe something else will come out. And I was confused last week. Was it a knock again last week? No. The fully fit squad last week. This week, it said Willie's back in training. He's available for selection, was the terminology. Okay, great, good. And we'll see that. Even if it is off the bench, I'd like him to start. But off the bench, he's able to trap balls. He will, notoriously, because he is a winger, he will get closer to Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the striker than what a central attacking midfielder or a number 8 in what Brendan Aronson naturally is will do. And Daniel Farke in the week has said that his wingers are too wide, right? They're too wide. Because he was asked about inversion, and he acknowledged that they need to be in and around Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And if they're playing a certain style of football, Daniel Farke acknowledged in his press conference that his wingers are too wide. Now, I was a bit confused about that as well, because with Brendan Aronson, with Noah Okafor, that they like to invert, they like to cut inside. So that was complete false, really. And that raised my eyebrow when it came to the press conference. We mentioned that in the press conference reaction. So it's all culminating in a mass confusion for me, because I'm looking at it optics-wise and saying, is he genuinely going into a matchday squad with Harrison, James, and Aronson as our wingers and dropping Willie Gnonto? I think he is. I think he's doing this, which absolutely blows my mind to another level. And I don't know why. Maybe it's the conservative approach. Maybe he trusts these players a little bit more. Maybe Nonso, we've seen it with other players under Daniel Farke, who's maybe a little bit too much when it comes to Vavavoom and doesn't do the defensive side that all the wingers have to do. Never mind production in the final third. It's all about being a defensive winger, which is really working out for us right now at this moment in time. We'll go back to Nottingham Forest. 2 wins in 15. 2 wins in 15. The first win at the City ground, I think, from the opening day of the season was when they got the first win, the 3-1 victory. And this is the second time. Second time. Now, at some stage, like Sunderland have done, you've got to go to these grounds, and Burnley to a certain extent with teams in and around them, and make it a little bit more difficult than what we do. Today was tragic. It was tragic. It was extremely poor. Leeds didn't create anything for a sustained period of that first half. Leeds had one shot, and it was obviously Metcha for the goal. As I've mentioned before, there was a mass amount of shots on our goal, but I didn't think Forest were great. And I thought when it was 1-1, you're in the game. I mean, the fact that it's a brilliant goal. Leeds won the battles in that midfield. 4 of them won the battles. Brendan Aronson played Metcha. Little sidestep, fired it through. It's a brilliant finish. Really good execution. And then how many teams do you get in the Premier League? How many teams do you get? Newly promoted side who don't make it hard. They don't make it difficult, do they? Leeds just a really easy opportunity to concede another goal. Ampadu gets spun, puts the ball in. Perry just flimsily puts it back. Sangare taps it in. It's so easy, and it's so difficult for Leeds to score goals in the Premier League, especially away from home. But guys, I'll be honest, I was just happy that I saw a goal. But Forest getting back into it, did I really have confidence that when we went 1-0 up, we would win the game? No. I don't. We're still going into it with the style of play. And let me just get this image on screen. The watch-alongers will be annoyed at this. This is something that really caught my eye yesterday. This is Leeds United's directness in build-up, okay? So team directness scenario, direct speed upfield, directness towards goal. Leeds are languishing when it comes to slow build-up and low directness towards goal, literally on our own. Now, you look at Burnley, you look at Sunderland, in effect, fast build-up, high directness towards goal. That's on the manager. He was speaking a little bit in the week about the wingers not getting closer enough. That's on instruction, mate. That's instruction. If the ball is being played by the centre-backs to the centre-forward, you need to instruct your wingers to be a trigger. Every single time the ball is played to them, you know our centre-forwards are going to win it because they're big in the air. That's how we've recruited. But they're big in the air. They'll get the flick on. We saw Metcha doing it as well, really battling well, I thought, with Milenkovic in that first half. But there's no one near him. There is no one near him. And how many times have we said this with Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Dominic Calvert-Lewin, by the way, who came onto the pitch, and it took us 15 minutes to put the ball into the box or get the ball anywhere near him. And that follows onto the sequence of what we're seeing with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which is 1.1 touches on average for Leeds United in the penalty box per game. We're not getting him into the game. Lucas Metcha is isolated. Again, he shouldn't be isolated. Look how many times it's, and Forest, by the way, if you look at this graph again, they're actually not, when you look at the direct speed and the team directness scenario, they're not a really quick build-up side, and it won't be with Dyche. But what Dyche will do is he'll turn Leeds around. That's what Forest were doing. They've got very good ball players in the midfield. 100%. I think Sangare is good on the turn. I think he's strong. I think he protects the ball well. Got Morgan Gibbs-White and Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson, who's top 5 central midfielders in the Premier League, but they're not playing through these players. At home, they're not doing that. They're going over the top and playing off the striker. So why are we so arrogant that we can't do that away from home when we've got a lesser midfield than Nottingham Forest and a lesser squad overall than Nottingham Forest? Why are we trying to play out from the back? Why are we having meaningless passes between Biol, Stack, Ampadu, Rodon to emit some sort of notion of control when we don't really have control? Because when Nottingham Forest step 2-3 yards up the pitch, they press us and turn over the ball, as Brighton did last week. We saw that. The blueprint was last week when the high turnovers were there. Dyche thought, well, hold on, they're passing out from the back again. So we'll just press a little bit higher. They did that, and in that first half, started getting a lot more joy because they were recovering the ball. The ref was giving them a lot. The Forest players were hitting the deck, and then they get set pieces. And all of a sudden, we don't look that strong from set pieces, defensively or offensively. I don't know what we've done. Did the centre-backs even go up? Did the centre-backs go up? The delivery's off, but even the competing in the box looks meek. It looks mild. It looks ineffective. And then you look at the actual style of play when you think about it. Okay, so if we're passing out from the back, once again, if we're passing out from the back, right? Let's say we're doing this, and it's all about directness and build-up. That's what it's all about. That's what because that's how we're configured apparently in the Premier League, which is not what we've recruited for, but it is what it is. That's how we're passing out from the back. Why not take your best? Why not bring your best central defensive player on who's good with the ball at his feet? Pascal is the best defender that we have when it comes to the ball at his feet. We all know that. The play for Leeds United in the Championship effectively was funneled through Pascal Stroud the majority of the time. Joe Rodon got into it towards the, last year when the Championship and he got much better. But a lot of that was aided by Pascal Stroud. Pascal Stroud is exceptional on the ball. Why don't you put him in as centre back if we're building out from the back? Pascal can do a variety of things on that left-hand side. It can be a little mid-range pass. It can be a real crisp pass into the central midfield. But you go with Biol, who is a box defender. He's a top European defender when it comes to clearances. That's what he's setting up for. With Biol and with Stroud, you have a difference in what you can go for. If you want to defend your box, you put Biol on. If you want to pass out from the back and you want to have heavy possession-based laden football, put Stroud on. And we don't do that. We go with Biol at the back. And then on top of that as well, you've got Ampadu who's struggling, and you've got a number 6 who we bought from Hoffenheim, who has been seen as one of the better Bundesliga players on and off the ball statistically. ESPN did an entire lovely article on Pascal's on Anton Stack a couple of years ago, describing him as the German Declan Rice. So if Ampadu's struggling, which he was in that game, why don't you put Stack there? No, what we do is it pans to the bench and it looks like Gruev's getting changed. Someone tell me stylistically why. Why? Put Stack at the base and just have runners off Stack when it comes to Longstaff and Tanaka on the pitch. We didn't have control of that midfield, but you want him to play out from the back. Put Pascal on, bring out Tanaka on to get control of the midfield. You've got Elliot Anderson there. You've got Morgan Gibbs-White, who are relatively physical, but they're good technical footballers as well. They've not got the likes of Ryan Yates starting and Sangare starting. They haven't got that. So you can compete in that midfield, and you're losing control in the midfield. The ball's like a hot potato. Put out Tanaka on, but you pan to the bench. And if Gruev was to come, if Ampadu was to come off, Gruev's getting unchanged. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what? And then, look, we're getting into the game, and there's just no level. And you don't have to have all of the ball. You can give the opposition the ball, and they can be frustrated. We can be hard to beat. We can have a good structure, a good framework. We can be disciplined, which is what we're recruited for, to be that. That was kind of the notion. It's what we've been... it's what people have spoken about from the general perspective. Leeds have done well when it comes to recruitment because we've recruited a physical way. Sky Sports did a chart at the very beginning of the season. The age profiles we brought in from 25 to 27 and the height we brought in from 6 foot to 6'4". Bearing in mind, one of the smallest players we brought in was Noah Okafor, who stands at 6 foot tall. So you're bringing in a style. That's what you're doing. You're changing. And we saw that. We've seen it against the likes of Bournemouth. We've seen it against the likes of Everton. Away from home, it just all goes out the window. And that's why I posed the question to the One Leeds and the Leeds fans in the comment section who still back this to a certain extent in terms of the style of play. What are we? What's our identity? Because I can't tell you what it is at this moment in time. And it gets beyond frustrating when you're in the game, you go 1-0 up, you break away like that, they get back in the game, but fine, it's 1-1, it's okay. But then you're in the game again, and it's meaningless. Possession of the ball, meaningless. And now let's look at the optics. Let's look at the generalized perspective. Let's look at this holistically. Leeds are going into an international break. Farke tells us all the time after international breaks that apparently we're not good enough, we don't get results. He reminds us all in the press conference of the week of the game after the press conference that, Leeds don't do well after international breaks. Did it numerous times in the Championship, and it's almost like, get that, bang it in my back pocket. That's a lovely little excuse if we lose. It's a mentality problem. There's something at Leeds. But that's a thing just added to that. Leeds United are now one of the lesser formed teams in the Premier League. We've got Aston Villa at home. That is now we've been saying this for ages. We've said this about Burnley. We've said this about, West Ham, we said it as well and we've said this with Nottingham Forest. But today was a must not lose. We all said that. I would have gone on a must win because I feel like that is one of them. You've got to get that Burnley result back at some stage. You've got to get that back. And you look at Nottingham Forest, once again, second. I know they've got good players. I understand they've got good players. Look at what they brought off the bench. On Yewi, brought off Amari Hutchinson, Ryan Yates. But it's not that good. Amari Hutchinson is, decent player. And we'll get on to why Amari Hutchinson was a decent player in just a second. But you look at the changes that Leeds made. Dan James coming on. Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming on. We won't speak about the other change, but there's options off the bench. There's Al Tanaka on the bench. So really, when it comes to, I know it sounds daft, but when it comes to like-for-like subs, Leeds don't have bad subs coming off the bench here. And there's ways of which we can go around that. We can go Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and we can go Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Lucas Mecha, okay, up top. And then you've got two players who, if one wins, one's going to be right near. So we can profit from that, and we can get players in and around that number 9. You can have effectively a 9 and a 10. We don't do that. Once again, the striker throughout the entire game, even when DCL came on, he's isolated. Mecha, throughout the whole game, isolated. I don't know what we are. I don't know where we're going, but it feels like I know where we're going. And I've got nowhere of knowing, you know what I mean? Fill in the gaps. But it's one of those right now, everybody, where there is such a mass frustration at what I've just witnessed. It wasn't good enough. Really wasn't good enough. But you're in the game at 1-1 against a Forest side who is still bereft of confidence. A Forest side who've still seen an upturn, of course. But if there's still people, I feel anyway, and it's my opinion, coming in here saying, oh, well, what did you expect? Oh, it's Nottingham Forest, the 49ers. You build a team against another team to make it difficult for that team. Okay? That's what you do. And as I say, if as a fan, if I'm coming on here saying I don't know what we are, that's a problem. That is a big problem. I have no idea what Leeds United are at this moment in time. Are we a passing out from the back? Are we a pressy? Because the press is kind of half-arsed, isn't it? You see it some weeks, you don't see it other weeks. You go long against Bournemouth, but away from home, you'll pass out from the back against Arsenal, Brighton, and Nottingham Forest. It's bizarre. And then just to absolutely smack us in the face, and this has to be my most frustrated this season. It is, and I will apologise for that. But you guys, look, you don't have to be here. Just to absolutely smack us in the face with Nonto not being selected for whatever reason. Jack Harrison then validates all my fears of maybe he's actually put Harrison on the bench ahead of someone like Willian Gnonto because he wants Jack Harrison within the squad so he can make some sort of change like he made. Harrison comes on, gets ripped apart 2 or 3 times by Amari Hutchinson, and the beauty of it all, Goodmanson, we could all see on that left-hand side, was playing well. He was playing well. Getting forward, I thought he was brilliant at points. There was 2 or 3 darting runs. He got Sangare booked, which was really important in terms of their midfield switch, where Yates had to come on. It's a bit of a different dimension, not as powerful as Sangare. The run into the box, of which there was no Leeds players there, because we are so obsessed about not getting forward because we don't want to get that risk of too many players pushing forward because we might get done the other way, of which we get done the other way anyway. So you might as well flood the box when you're trying to chase something. Gabby Goodmanson gets that point, and then, you have him on that left-hand side looking good defensively. He looks solid as well, I think 1v1, Gabby's really good. He elects to bring him off. And you don't bring him off for someone and then think maybe Leeds will go to, I don't know, like a back 3 or whatever. Doesn't do that. He brings him off for Jack Harrison, who then gets absolutely rinsed and gives away the penalty and gives Leeds nothing when it comes to any offensive output, of which when we're chasing the game, surely you'd kind of want that. Pointless substitution. And then you look over your shoulder and go, who's that little Japanese metronome, that little maestro on the bench who can enact control on a game, can tip the balancing act when it comes to a midfield, will actually play through the thirds instead of just lateral. Oh, yeah, it's Altanaka. We keep him on the bench. You bring fucking Jack Harrison on. And this is why I get to, and I've been so calm all season, but this is just not the tipping point as such, but I don't know what, I don't see the patterns changing. I don't see lessons being learned. And this is why I've always been in the grey area, because I thought, you know what? He's done a really good job. Really good job. Really happy. Look, we had the most lucrative team in the division. That has to be the caveat. But he got us up and he did well. Okay. Whatever anybody says about my opinions when it comes to Daniel Farke, I will constructively criticize and I will praise at the same time. And I think that's the perfect balancing act for how you analyze something. Some things annoy me with Daniel Farke, and the reasons that I talk about them a little bit more is because you see them a little bit more. As of today, things don't really change, so you speak about them more. That takes away from the praise a little bit. That tilts the balancing act. But we're at a point now where I'm really worried about Leeds United away from home. We don't have to pick up mass amounts away from home, but the goals are leaking in. It's another loss on the road. And as I've mentioned to you guys previously, that Opta statistic, which I was literally looking at today, and we've got one win in there. And then even in the second half of that win, of which West Ham were on the ropes, we let them back into the game and we're just defending our own sort of half. But we legislated that. We said it's okay because, we've got the win and 3 points are massive in the Premier League. Right. Tick, tick, tick. Correct. But then you build on that, and we don't build on that. And this is not sustainable. You cannot pass out from the back and have your best passer on the bench. You cannot pass out from the back and not have the best technical player in the midfield. You cannot not do that. The reason I put Sean Longstaff and Stack and whoever in there today, the Ampadu in there today, was because I thought we were going to go long. I thought we were going to play off Dominic Calvert-Lewin and or Metra. He acknowledged that in his press conference. He acknowledged the fact that Leeds effectively, don't have these inverted wingers of which he wants, but then we continuously start passively playing out from the back. We have this meaningless possession out from the back, which doesn't move Forest out of shape. Nothing happens with Nottingham Forest. You just see Sangare going bang, 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 and then Leeds don't play through the thirds. And then you look through the thirds and you think to yourself, is there any options? Have we worked on this in training? Do we know what Forest are playing? Have we got sort of Forest lineups in training where you've got effectively mannequins and you know what I mean? It's like you feel like you can look at what Nottingham Forest are going to do and can we play against that? I feel away from home, it's like we kind of go into there and go, oh shit, they're a Premier League team. Oh shit, they're a bit different. They're different to the ones last week, but they're different in this way, and we can't adapt in this way. But there is a scenario, and we've been shown by the lads who are about 115 miles up the road from us in Sunderland, that you can have 30% possession and that control on a game can create chances and can bloody score goals and win matches in tough games. And the excuse of, but they've got a better team. That's fine. Okay. But we still finished 24 points ahead of them last season. We had a lot of players who were going to be able to simultaneously fit into the Premier League. And right now we've recruited in a way of which can be exploited, can make us a little bit better, could help us finish 17th. Do we have a team that is 11th, 10th? No one's saying that. Nobody is saying that. No one is saying that we have a team that is going to be 12th, 13th, 11th. But if you've got a team that can finish 17th, of course you have. Of course you have. You've just got to get the best and you've got to get those incremental margins right in the games. And right now we are not doing that. Let's see what you guys are saying. Let's have a look at what you guys are saying. Loft says, Farker is a numpty today. No excuses. Keep your thoughts in the comment section below. Farker is a disgrace. How are you guys feeling? In the comment section below? Is it a poll? A lot of you wanting a poll. This is what I do on the. And look, if you guys are watching this after the fact, I'm interested to know what people say on this one. Very interested to hear what people say on this one because I don't think that was good enough. I don't think last week was anywhere good enough. And I'm just going to put a poll in on here. What do you look? A lot of you are asking for it. Farker, there you go. And it'll be interesting to hear what you guys say on this one because I think this will now get louder. There's your poll, right? Let me know in the comment section below and I will read it out, of course. But it's kind of got to a point now where I am really worried. I think there's genuine conversations right now which will be had 100%. I don't think that we are getting enough out of this team with how we've recruited. There appears to be a different ideology with Farker and the 49ers, which is a massive, massive problem. You look at Matthew Benham down at Brentford, bringing in a set piece coach in Keith Andrews. There is a way of which they've recruited. There is a way of which they're playing toward. You look at someone like, Brighton with a top-down approach. Bloom, who's now gone to Hearts as well and implemented a really similar strategy from the gambling world, getting those fine margins absolutely perfect, bringing in De Zerbi. When De Zerbi goes, they bring in Herzler. They've got a remit of, we play this style of football top-down. Right now, I don't know what we are. I keep saying this. I have no idea what we are. And right now, there is a top-down problem as well. Do the 49ers, have they recruited for this style of football? I don't think they have. Then what's the problem? And why are we playing this style sometimes and not other times? Why away from home are we now leaking goals? Why from set pieces do we look shot defensively and offensively on the road? We are weak as piss on the road. It's a massive problem, and Leeds have got to start sorting this out because what the intangibles are as well, everybody's the confidence. The confidence. When you're on the ball and you're in the bottom three, you might take that extra touch. You might not be confident to get a shot off. These are all massive, massive knock-on effects of being in that bottom three, of being in and around there. And with our month that we've got coming up in late November and December, we're going to be in that bottom three. It's a huge worry right now because these intangibles are the things that I've been involved in relegation battles at good standards when it comes to football before. I can tell you that when you're involved in this sort of stuff, I've told you guys before, I speak to lower league players often. When you are involved in a relegation battles, it's the knock-on effect. It's, my God, this is everything's weighing down on you. Everything's weighing down. You've got to kind of punch upwards, and it's very difficult. Your decision making becomes, you overthink everything. Your confidence is rooted. The mentality of the squad is affected. People are questioning things. The manager's questioning things. Your second touch, you're questioning. Your first touch, you're questioning. Shots on goal, you're questioning. It's really important that we don't get into that bottom three. Because I'm not sure, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure this team has it and the manager has it to be able to get us out of this. What I will say, what I will say is I thought the referee was appalling. I thought he was appalling in the game. Leeds got no support whatsoever. Absolutely no support whatsoever. Um, but that's not an excuse. It's really not an excuse now. Berrin Cross has just put out. Let's have a look at what Berrin said. Berrin has just said full time. Forest 3, Leeds 1. Afternoon of one-way traffic on the road. Another afternoon. Bolshy from Berrin. Another afternoon of one-way traffic on the road. Whatever your perspective on the performances, the points per game and reality have been a newly promoted team. It's only getting harder. This is why it was so important. It was so important. Is it really beyond the realms of possibilities to be going to Brighton and maybe nick a point? Is that beyond the realms of possibility? Well, it's becoming a lot more difficult when you're losing goals in the first 10, 20 minutes, which is literally what we've done in the last 4 games now. We even lost when we beat Wolverhampton Wanderers. We were 1-0 down inside 8 minutes. You get away from home, you're giving yourself no chance. It's so difficult in the Premier League as well. So difficult. So now you've come through a game in the Premier League, which are categorized as easier games. When you look at Burnley, you look at West Ham, you look at Brighton, you look at Forest. You've lost 3 of them. 3. Like literally, just even think about even just getting points in all of those. Like people wouldn't be looking at us and going, wow, amazing. You're so incredible results by Leeds. But it's just a point on the road. It's ticking them up. That's what it is. It's been difficult to beat. That's all it is. But this absolute wayward opinion of the manager, we can't do anything because of what the 49ers have done for us. I think that is nonsense. I think it's defeatist, and I think it's waving the white flag. I mentioned it all this week. This entire week, we've tried, and I know other content creators are trying as well to figure out solutions of what we can do. Is this team good enough to finish 16, 17? 100% it's good enough. 100%. These marginal bits of which Leeds can incrementally get better on, which we can. There are many facets which we can get better on in this side, and a style of play, a real identity, which teams come to Leeds and they go, it's going to be tough, this. Or even when Leeds go away from them, this is going to be tough, this, coming up against Leeds. Right now, we're a sieve. We're a sieve for goals. That's what we are. We're a zebra crossing to 3 points at the minute away from home, and it's a massive problem. I don't know if he knows his best team. This is huge. This is huge. But do you know what we should say? Even if he doesn't know his best team, let me just read out some stats. Let me read out some stats. And what's he going to mention? I'm going to put this to you guys. So let's just get this on screen. What do you think Farke's going to mention in his press conference here? Like, I would love some of the journos to press him on this. What do you think, when you're looking at this, what do you think Farke's going to look at? What do you think he's going to look at there? And what will he mention? Which is like a trophy to him. Possession. So Leeds have now, we've beaten Brighton, which he mentioned in his post-match press conference. We beat Brighton on possession, even though we created nothing, which wasn't a follow-up question asked. Well, Daniel, you had 89% possession, whatever you want. We didn't create anything, mate. You know what I mean? Forest, we've beaten them possession. I mean, look at that expected goals, or look at the expected goals last week. A lot of those chances as well came at the end. Look at the big chances. So it's kind of got to a point now where I don't think right now Leeds stay up. We're gone. I think we're gone. I don't think. I mean, you look at this league table and look, you see Leeds in 16th. Wolves, I think, are gone. I think Forest on the balance of today are a better. I mean, they're a much better team than Leeds United on the balance of today. Burnley, there's not much between us, and they've beaten us. beating us pretty well. We had about 400 shots, but it's because Burnley just sat back and do what Burnley do. They got a goal, sit back, then we'll hit you on the counter attack again, which they did. Simple. It's what we know with Burnley, and we didn't score a goal. So regardless, doesn't matter. You're not going to get the we deserved it cup at the end of the season. You're going to get relegated, and you're going to lose a lot of players, and you're going to lose a lot of money. And that's the cold hard facts. That's objective. It's not subjective, that one. You go down, you're not going to, and this is the whole point. You just see that there, everybody. And this is exactly what backs up what I was saying earlier. Sunderland away at Chelsea had about 28% possession the whole game, but they had massive chances and a big XG there. Look at us. 54% possession for the full game, and we're creating nothing. We're not doing anything. It's meaningless. Let's have a look what you guys are saying anyway in the comment section. We'll get into a few of your comments as well. There is 88% of you. Wow. 88% of you. 800 votes. 88% of you are saying Farker out. 12% saying Farker in. That is mental. That is mental. But right now, I have no confidence that we're staying up. I just don't. I don't. My old man said it in the midweek, said it before the Brighton game. He said, son, and my dad's a good measure when it comes. He went, we're gone. And I said, Dad, no, come on, we're not gone. And he said, son, I don't know what we are. I don't know how we play. We're going into these games and we are not setting up at all. You've seen plenty of teams who are bottom basement sides over the existence of the Premier League and just even hierarchical football. Hierarchical football where the underdog is able to really frustrate the opposition team. How many times did we have that in the Championship? How many times did we have such a lucrative squad or just a plethora of much more talent than what we're up against? And we'd have maybe like a Wigan or we'd have a Swansea. Teams can dig in. You can get results. It looks impossible, but strategies can get you. Tactical framework, structure can get you these points. That's what we've needed. Against Brighton, against Forest, pick up a point on the road. It's going to be tough, but dig in. But it all starts on the day. Willie Gnonto is mental. I don't know what's going on with Gnonto. Something's going on. And I'm absolutely fascinated to hear what he says in this press conference. And if I'm wrong, fair enough. But from what I understood 3 weeks ago, this is someone who covers all the press conferences. 3 weeks ago, he was fit and he was in team training. He was ready. 2 weeks ago, he was available. Didn't see him. Again, this week. Baron Cross has put it out. It's strange. Gnonto's not there. But then you've seen Harrison come onto the pitch and I'm thinking, oh yeah. Harrison's coming onto the pitch. If Harrison didn't come onto the pitch, I'd be like, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe there is something with Gnonto, but Harrison's coming onto the pitch. I've got a feeling that Gnonto is down in his selection. And I've got a feeling that Gnonto is I don't know, is he done with Farker? I don't know. For 3 weeks, I don't understand. Because by my reckoning, when you look at the press conferences, he's been available for 3 weeks. Claire says our performance is very championship right now. I respect Farker getting us promoted, but he's not the Premier League manager. I think the thing is, Claire, as well, someone said it in the comment section. I've said it a couple of times as well. And it's probably a similar thing with Joel Peru as well when you're looking at it. Daniel Farker, with the greatest respect to him, doesn't have Premier League suitors when it comes to jobs. He's never on the remit when he comes to it. There's never clubs going, what about Daniel Farker? Let's get him in. It never happens, okay? I massively respect Daniel Farker. I love what he's done. And I think he conducts himself. Do you know what I like about Farker? How calm he is. How calm he is. That's what I like. In the face of adversity, I really like how Farker calms everything down. It's not reactive, very calm. I really like what he was saying in his press conference. It's like us against the world. It was a bit of fight. And I even put it out as a tweet. I said, I like that from Danny Boy. But I had this thing in my back of my head that I just thought nothing's going to change. And it hasn't. Nothing's changed again. It's the exact same thing we're seeing week in, week out away from home. And do not think to yourself as well, everybody, our home form's just going to keep us up with this. Because it's a massive battering on the pressure that's going to come with Leeds United now at home. Leeds now have to be picking up points at home because it looks like away from home, we're just going to do the same thing every single time. George, here we go. Connor, this is mental. Where do you think we should be finishing? I agree it's not great at the moment. Last 2 weeks, Farker has got it wrong. You think someone is going to do better with the squad? George, you've got to adapt, mate. You've got to adapt. George, I say this, and this is my, I guess it's my big frustration, George, because I have to say, buddy, it's so easy to say. So yeah, well, what was the point? Did you ever have any inclination that we'd stay up this season? Of course you did, because there's hope, there's strategy. You can have an underdog feel and go up against some of these teams and nick a point. We've seen it already that so far this season. It doesn't even have to be with the newly promoted sides. Can be with the existing 17. You can go and get a point on the road. You can be difficult to beat. You can set up in a way, George, where if you're playing out from the back, you have your best defender on the ball, mate. You have your best defender on the pitch. If you're playing out from the back, you have your best conductor, maestro, metronome in the midfield who can get hold of the ball, and technically he's better than the rest of the midfielders. If you're playing out from the back, that's what you want to do. But you don't leave Willie Gnonto out the side. You don't do that. If you want to go long, George, you have maybe a two up top. You have your wingers, of which he's acknowledged in his press conference, touch tight whenever someone like DCL or Metcha flicks it on, which you saw today with Jesus, with Ndoye and Morgan Gibbs-White. You get up the pitch, George, quicker than what we're doing right now. There is a directness about your play which mirrors your recruitment. It cannot be this waving of the white flag, excuse my French, bullshit that you hear with some of the fan base when it's like, we can't do anything. We can't do anything. You can't set up against these teams. They're too good. It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. You've seen teams stay up year on year on year who have been underdogs, who've set up in a certain way which is difficult to beat. Points on the road. And this team is good enough to finish 17th. It really is. It's good enough to finish 17th, especially if we're going to do something in January where you bring in a right-sided player. But now I'm looking at it. I thought optics-wise it was that, but now I'm looking at it and thinking, no. I'm looking at it now and thinking, no. So I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough one. But you've got to be able to set up in a way of which utilizes your best strengths. And if you don't do that, there's no point. Technically, we're not going to be able to play the ball out from the back anyway. But you're going into it with a butter knife. Going into it with a butter knife right now. Are you really going to be playing out from the back when you've got players in the midfield with the greatest of respect, like Sean Longstaff from a technical level? You're not really. As I've said, but there's so many pointers today, even when Leeds are trying to play out from the back and Ampadu goes down. He's not looking to put Stack in the six, which is the obvious one because he's got all outstanding numbers from being in the six at Hoffenheim and having rave reports at him in the number six for Hoffenheim for the past 3 or 4 years. He's not looking to do that when Ampadu's down injured. He's looking to bring Gruev on. That is the intention of that is madness. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed that. In a sense, I know this can be cathartic. We are going to be back a bit later on with Brownie, where we're going to be going through it. And I don't know how that's going to go, to be honest, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The poll, I think it was 88%, mate. 88% wanted Farker out. Now, once again, it's one of those things for me. I keep giving him this leash of he will adapt, he will adapt, he will adapt. I've seen it a bit. If anything, the people who think I can't stand Daniel Farker, I've got it completely wrong because I'm giving him this long leash. I'm saying, will he adapt? Has he got the characteristics to adapt? I want Daniel Farker to be Leeds manager because I want continuity. I want continuity at this football club. There is nothing that you want less in a football club than it to be chopping and changing, different ideologies, different processes. You don't want that. You want your manager to remain in. You want that. I wanted Daniel Farker when they were talking about Corbrand, this, that, and the other. It was an interesting conversation at the very beginning of the season, but I thought you've kind of got to give him. You've got to give him a little bit with what he's done. I'm massively worrying now. There is really bad downward signs at this moment in time. I said to you guys at the very beginning of the week, I said, you look at our points total, it is beyond what I was saying that, Leeds needed. Everyone who has got plus 11 points after 10 games stays up. Guys, nobody had ever gone up, had never not gone up with 92 points or whatever it was. We broke that record. Leeds break records. We broke a couple under Jesse Marsh as well. But the overarching point here is there is a massive decline happening right now. And that is the worry. There is a massive downturn in form. And the things that we started the season doing pretty well, I thought set pieces been dominant. I thought being strong. I thought there was a real midfield sort of level of combination, and Bogle looked brilliant, and Goodmanson were really getting him into the game. I think all of these things are now lopsided. I think it's all sort of gone by the wayside a little bit, and it's massively worrying. Um, anyway, you guys, I'm a